We have a gender war. So listen to this. I'm going to include the video and I'm going to talk about the clips. So because listen, there are people over here in Africa that are going to prey on African women. They're going to prey on because they want to make money. They want to make a living off the fucking misery and strife that happens in marriages.
The comment section so I can talk with you, answer your questions. So the topic I want to talk about today is abuse. How do you know you're in an abusive relationship? Now, this may sound really crazy sound like a crazy question, but there are people who are being abused or in an abusive relationship, but they don't know that.
All right, listen up. Listen to what this woman just said. She is trying to suggest that a person in a relationship somehow doesn't know if they're being abused. Listen to this grifter. Listen to this scammer. This is a scam that they play in immigration.
Because their abuse is normalized for them. Maybe it's something they saw when they were growing up, or maybe something that's cultural, or maybe they've talked to people who've told them, oh, it's not a big deal. So they don't know that it's abuse. And
listen to how she is infantilizing women. Now listen, she's going to go on to say, this video infuriates me, guys. Listen, I'm telling you, this is the type of woman, the type of channel that these are the ones that are the predators. These are the ones that are being predators on these women, these African women, because they're assuming that the woman is with a American citizen, maybe going to America, and like I'm telling you right now, this is why you cannot bring a woman to America. They will use the system against you. They will get these parasites into your ear, to your woman's ear, and convince you somehow that you're being abused. I'm telling you, this is, if there is one thing that makes me angry, it's these types of people.
And they lose power because they accept this behavior. So I'm going to go into it in a little more detail, but I'm just going to wait for a couple more people to come in. Scrolling through, I don't remember what page it was, and this woman was talking about how she had cut her hair and colored it for her, to celebrate herself. It was her birthday, and she came home and her husband got upset, and I don't remember what he did to her.
Here comes the scam. She just said, I don't know what he did with her. So she's going to go on and explain that somehow the woman went out, and she's in America now. She went and colored her hair for her birthday, and then she comes back. Her husband didn't like it, and then they're going to classify. Listen, guys, listen to the video. Listen carefully. This is what feminism is that is infiltrating Africa. It is these parasites that are infiltrating women's ears and telling you, if your husband says no, or I don't like this, or I don't like that, or if he has boundaries, they call him an abuser. Look at it, guys. It's right here. Look at it.
But basically, he was not pleased that she cut her hair, and I think he might have called the family members, or he might have kicked her out of the house, or something to that effect. But what surprised me was the fact that the comments, the people that were responding to this, a lot of people were saying, well, you can't cut your hair without your husband's permission. You should have asked him before you went to cut your hair. He owns you. He paid is a dowry on you.
Now, notice that she doesn't even put the comments up. She just said, oh, just take my word for it. People were saying that, listen, even in Africa, listen, I don't know everything about the culture here, but we live in 2025, guys. There is nobody over here saying, I own my woman. Maybe it's somewhere up in bumfuck Africa, I don't know where. Listen, I've never heard anybody talk about that in the years that I've been coming to Africa. This is a fucking lie, guys.
You don't have a right to cut your hair. And then it just dawned on me that this is abusive behavior if you're with a spouse who is controlling the way you look.
Okay, so so when men have standards, when men want you to look a certain, listen, I do not allow in my relationship Michelle to wear, listen, she's allowed to wear whatever she wants. She's allowed to wear whatever she wants. She is allowed to have friends. Who's going to stop that? But I set boundaries on the relationship. If she wants to dress sexy and she wants to go have her hair and look like a whore or something like that, okay, well, go do that. But I'm not going to be here. You're not going to be with me in that relationship. Now, a lot of people have said, "Oh, Bruno, you act like a real African man." Yeah, as I've gone into my older age, I'm becoming more conservative. I now have boundaries. You're not just going to behave and look a certain way if you're in a relationship with me. You are free to leave, but then I'm free to have boundaries too. But see, if you notice, as soon as a man starts having boundaries because women seem to be able to have all the standards they want. They want a guy that makes this much money. They want to be able to do this. They want to have a job. Okay, go do that. But you're not going to do that with me.
Whether or not you can change your hairstyle, what you're wearing, if you're in that kind of relationship, you're in an abusive relationship. And it just dawned on me that a person like this woman might have talked to some friends, and they would tell her stuff like, well, you shouldn't have done that.
Go home and lock up in the house. You go off to Africa and get you a bush woman, you can't let her mingle with American women because they'll change her shit up. American women stick together. Last thing they want to see is you got some trained bush bitch in your house. They will catch her by herself in the kitchen and throw a monkey wrench in your whole program. As soon as they get alone, they'll be like, I can't stand it. You be running behind him doing everything he tell you to do. Who you think he is? You ain't no God. You a human being. You ain't supposed to treat nobody. This house is too big for one person to be cleaned up. Why don't you leave? You always crying. Why don't you just leave the nigga? Oh, you know something, girl? Do you know you can take half his money? Did you know you can take half his money? Did you know that? Did you know you entitled? He didn't tell you entitled to half? Oh, he only told you half the story then, girl. You can take half the money, the car, the house, the children, all the money he got. You can buy all the zebras and bones you want. Go back home in style, girl. You don't have to put up with this shit and get your hair done right. Cut that big afro shit off and go back home to Africa in style. Who the hell do you think?
And she wouldn't have known that this was not acceptable. They would have normalized this behavior. And I can tell you that if you're in a relationship with somebody who's telling you how to wear your hair or what to wear or who to speak to, there's more in this relationship that's abusive, and it doesn't stop there. Abuse. So now there are people that you're going through your relationship where you're being treated badly. Maybe you made dinner and the person that your spouse, and even the, and I'm talking about a man in this respect being the abuser. I don't want you to take this to mean that women are not abusers. Women are abusive in marital relationships or even other ordinary relationships. So I'm going to use certain examples interchangeably, but I don't want you to take from this that only women are being abused. That's not true.
Okay, so she knows she's lying right now. Look how she throws the caveat. She throws a bone. Oh, well, I guess women are abusive too. Listen, women are just as abusive as men. I don't care what you say. And this woman is trying to say, oh, we're going to use this interchangeable. And then she goes to use these examples that only would apply to men. Look at this scammer.
So let's say, for an example, that you're in a relationship where you're married to your spouse and you cook and he doesn't like whatever it is you made and he gets upset and he flings the food away. And you go to...
Now she's going to use the old thing. When you think of abuse, you think of the man in the wife beater t-shirt, and he's sweaty, and he comes home, and his wife, he doesn't like what his wife, and he flings it across the... Who is doing that? Who does that? So now, if you fling your food, or if you say that you're not satisfied with something they're doing, now it's classified as abuse. Look, I can't listen. I'm sorry, guys. I'm emotional about this stuff. I'm passionate about this. This is why you cannot bring a woman to America. This is the brainwashing. This is the gaslighting. This is the feminism in its most raw form. Whenever you marry a woman from overseas and you have to go through the immigration process, they're going to inform this woman because listen, if you marry a woman and let's say you want to change your mind halfway through the process, she can still go and tell the authorities that you're abusive, and then she can bypass you and get her green card anyway and come without your consent. This is what I'm telling you, man. Do not bring a woman to the United States. This is the type of things, this is the type of parasitical channels and women that are getting in African women's ears and trying to bypass. This is what they're trying to take the power away from the green card or the citizen and put it in the hands of the woman so they can get their citizenship. This is what I'm saying. This woman is scamming for money.
You talk to it about your friends and they say, well, you really should have, asked him what he wanted to eat. Maybe that's not what he wanted to eat. And they're normalizing this abusive behavior. And the more you talk to people who don't realize that this is abuse, the more you think that maybe it's something to do with you. Maybe you should have done this better, right? But I want you to know today that that's not acceptable. In the United States, that's considered abusive behavior. And if you're married to somebody who's a US citizen or green card holder and you're being subjected to this kind of behavior, let's screen you and see there's other things going on that could show that you're in an abusive relationship, and you can file your green card, file to get your green card without your spouse's involvement. Now, another example of abusive behavior is when, your spouse is displeased with what you do and they call, family members where they, chastise you for something you've done or something you didn't do. And, you're humiliated, you're embarrassed, and this is your culture. This is how it is in your culture. You're supposed to, when your husband is not happy with something you've done, they call a family meeting, they put you in the middle. And
what she's saying is true. Now, when I was married to the woman in Nigeria, I was involved with the family. I would use her sister as a mediator, and because we have our cultural differences, I was using her family and her sister as a mediator. So now, but listen to what she's trying to say. She's trying to say that if the man involves the family to correct the woman, see, this is what I'm saying. Men have lost. They're trying to take the authority away from the man. So even when the man tries to call the family to mediate, to help resolve the issues in the family, they're now calling this abuse. Man, I'm telling you, Africa is if you go to these English, see, this is a Nigerian channel. Listen to these. This is why guys don't go to Nigeria. This is further cementing my. I hate to say it, but this is the double whammy that you're getting in Nigeria. Not only are you having prostitution in Nigeria, you've got these scammers like this channel. It infuriates me. It infuriates me, guys. You have got to start vetting these women. Do not bring these women to America. If you're going to come to Africa, you got to live right here, man. You cannot let these women get the upper hand in the immigration process. You will be fucked.
And the complaints are going back and forth, and in the end, you have to kneel and apologize. That's abusive behavior.
Liz, did you hear what she just said? She said that if you insist on having an apology from your wife, if she did something to offend you or disrespected you, having her apologize to you is abuse, guys. It's abuse. Are you fucking kidding me? Listen, I'm watching this for the first time right with you here. Are you guys hearing this? Or I feel like I can't even believe my ears.
And you want to know that this is not something you should, you should stand for. So a lot of people and a lot of my clients, when they come in here with a conditional green card, I see this especially with people who come in here with a conditional green card, which means their U.S. citizen spouse have filed for them to come into the United States. So they come in with a conditional green card because they haven't been in the United States. They haven't been married long enough to get a permanent green card. And so that spouse now becomes controlling. That spouse will sometimes tell them that, I'm going to withdraw my petition. I'm not going to show up for the interview because you're getting too Americanized. And what they consider being Americanized is that you're asking to be treated, in a non-abusive manner. So that spouse feels that they can tell you, what to do. They can make you study, go study something you don't want to study because they want to put you in a certain career that will be helpful to them.
So, listen further. So now she's saying that if your husband wants you to go to school for the betterment, somehow it's just for him. It's not the betterment of the family. Because listen, in America, they have DEI, diversity, inclusion, all that crap. When you're a black woman in America, you are going to get preferential treatment for, what do you call that? You get preferential hire, affirmative action. So if your husband wants you to go get a job, or if he wants you to go to school and learn something, That's abuse, guys. That's abuse. Oh my God.
You know, and you don't have a say in the finances of the house. You make money and you have to hand it over to them. If you spend money, you have to tell them, you have to bring receipts. And if you don't do what they want you to do, then quote unquote, you're being Americanized, you're getting to Americanize. And so they're not going to show up for the interview. And that threat, you know, keeps you, you know, in a situation where you feel you can't do certain things. You have to obey this person. You have to always make sure that they're happy with you, because otherwise
No,
they
listen.